The movie kicks off at General Yang's palace. The general has 7 sons, and the 6th one is named Liu. Right at the start, Liu is getting punished in front of everyone alongside his reckless 7th brother Yanxi. They're sentenced to 30 lashes because they broke the family rules. The general himself steps up with a heavy staff to do the honors. But to understand why all this is going down, we gotta go back exactly 2 days. We see our hero, Liu, hanging out with Princess Chai. It's clear they've been head over heels for each other since they were kids. So when Liu pops the question, she says yes right away, no hesitation. Liu heads back to his dad, the general, and tells him the emperor announced a martial arts tournament where the winner gets to marry Princess Chai. Liu is 100% sure he can win and marry the love of his life. But the general drops a bombshell. Liu is banned from entering. See, Lord Pan, the emperor's brother-in-law, has a son who's also crushing on Chai and wants to marry her. The Yang and Pan families are always at each other's throats, and the general doesn't want to stir the pot right now, especially with the Khitan tribe at the borders constantly attacking. They need to stay united. But despite that, Liu doesn't listen to his old man. He goes and fights Lord Pan's son. The problem is, the son uses illegal, dirty tricks during the fight and knocks Liu off the platform. This ticks off the 7th brother, Yanxi, who charges at Lord Pan's son with pure rage. While he's beating him up, the son accidentally slips, hits his head, and dies on the spot. That's why General Yang is punishing them both, wailing on them in front of the other kids and all the soldiers because they disobeyed orders and accidentally killed Lord Pan's son. Now, Lord Pan's daughter is married to the emperor, so she goes crying to him saying, "They killed my brother. You have to wipe out the whole Yang family for revenge." Yanxi gets annoyed by her talk and insists the guy just fell because he was clumsy and it wasn't their fault, but his dad shuts him up since they're in front of the emperor. Princess Chai steps in to testify for the Yangs because of her guy Liu. But the sister mocks her, saying she wasn't even there, so how could she be sure it was an accident? In the middle of all this tension, a soldier arrives and tells the emperor the Khitan are attacking the borders. The emperor loses his cool because this isn't the first time. He looks at the smoke signals and realizes it's a full-scale invasion. They're coming with their whole army. He finds out the enemy commander is a fierce guy named Yuan. The emperor is confused because he thought General Yang killed Yuan in the last war. Turns out this is Yuan the son, who took over the army after his dad died. Since General Yang is a pro who's fought the Khitan many times and never lost, the emperor orders him to take 60,000 soldiers and defeat them again. But his snake of a wife still holds a grudge against Yang because her brother died. So she suggests to the emperor that her father, Lord Pan, should lead the army because it was her brother's dying wish. To smooth over the death of the son, the emperor decides Lord Pan will be the supreme commander, while General Yang leads the frontline troops himself, doing whatever he can to help Pan win. The veteran general goes home to have his wife help him get his armor and gear ready. When she hears he isn't the supreme commander this time, she gets worried. She says, "I'm not worried you can't handle the war. I'm worried because the situation is messy this time. General Yang is facing an enemy with a personal vendetta since he killed Commander Yuan's dad. And even his ally, Lord Pan, is a sneaky rival who might pull something." But the general reassures her, saying he's fought the Khitan for years and never lost. As for Pan, they share a common interest, protecting the Song Empire. At the same time, the 5th brother is worried about his dad because Lord Pan isn't a field commander and might bail on them. But the oldest brother tells them to just follow their father's orders, period. Later, Liu and the 7th brother go to apologize to their dad, but he's already forgiven them and asks if the lashing still hurts. Yanxi says, "Nah, the 5th brother is a good doctor and patched us up fast." They help him put on his battle armor and helmet. The legendary General Yang, his 7 sons, and his troops head to the battlefield and clash with the Khitan forces on the front lines with total ferocity. You can tell General Yang is still a beast despite his age. When the enemy commander sees how things are going, he orders another division to join the fight. Now there are way too many Khitan soldiers, and Lord Pan needs to step in with the rest of the army. But the shady Lord Pan pretends the Khitan have set an ambush and orders his army to retreat immediately. General Yang and his men are shocked that Pan pulled the whole army and ran away. But even so, he and his 7 sons keep fighting bravely. Eventually, Yuan fires an arrow at General Yang, knocking him off his horse. The battle gets extremely tough because they're totally outnumbered by the Khitan hordes. Suddenly, Yuan orders his men to fall back. The wounded General Yang decides to take his men and take cover at Wolf Mountain. Even though Yuan could have killed everyone right then, he's the type who believes revenge is a dish best served cold. He wants to lure the 7 Yang brothers and trap them at Wolf Mountain. Meanwhile, the general's wife wakes up worried, so she goes to the city's fortune teller and asks what's going to happen in this war. He tells her, life and death are in God's hands, and war only brings ruin. He hands her a specific piece of paper. When the mom sees it, she's shocked and goes into a daze. When she gets home, her 7 sons and the rest of the army who managed to escape with serious injuries have returned, but without General Yang, who's trapped with a few men on Wolf Mountain. She takes the oldest brother to a room to talk privately and shows him the message from the fortune teller, which says, 7 sons will leave, but 6 will return. The oldest brother reassures her that he'll go with his brothers and soldiers to free their dad and bring him back safe. Even though she's worried, she trusts her boys, especially when the oldest says, if one of us has to die, it'll be me. The main thing is getting dad back home safe. The mom says she'll go to the palace to get the emperor to make that heartless Lord Pan send reinforcements. The 7 brothers start prepping for the mission to rescue their dad at any cost. Even though they're tiny compared to the terrifying Khitan army, they'll never leave their father behind. Liu goes to say goodbye to Princess Chai, and she gives him her necklace, promising to wait for him to come back and marry her. Liu himself isn't even sure if he's coming back from this fight or not. Anyway, the 7 brothers are finally ready, and the mom tells them the general promised to make Lord Pan support them with some troops. Our heroes move out with a small army loyal to the legendary General Yang. When they get back to the battlefield, they find the place soaked in blood, with most of their soldiers dead in a brutal way and hung on spears. But they push through this sea of bodies because they have a higher goal, saving the old general. After walking a bit, they run into 200 Khitan soldiers. They're surprised the number is so low, but they figure it's a win and attack immediately. They throw oil into the air and follow it up with fire arrows, literally raining fire down on the enemy troops. This gives them a huge advantage, and they attack the remaining Khitan forces with everything they've got. Swords, spears, bows, you name it. The 7 sons put on a legendary performance that would make their dad proud. In the middle of this, Commander Yuan is watching from a distance. He tells the emperor's inspector that he sacrificed 200 soldiers just to test the brothers' skills. The inspector says their main goal is invading the Songland, but the veteran Khitan commander insists that once he's done with Yang and his family, the path will be wide open. At that moment, a messenger from the emperor reaches the traitor Lord Pan, telling him the emperor orders him to send 5,000 soldiers to the Yang brothers at Wolf Mountain. Pan is annoyed because he doesn't want to do that, but he has to accept the message. He decides to send a reply explaining why he can't send anyone. Meanwhile, General Yang and the few soldiers he has left have been trapped at Wolf Mountain for days, and their food and water are gone. Despite that, the general refuses to eat, preferring his men get the food, even though an arrow is still stuck in his back, and he's in a lot of pain. While he's standing there, he's surprised by his 7 sons and their men storming his fort on the mountain. He's confused about how they got here since the Khitan are all over the mountain. He realizes Yuan lured them here to kill them. Suddenly, the general gets sick and blood comes out of his mouth. Turns out the arrow was poisoned. The general doesn't care and tells his kids that Yuan wants revenge because Yang killed his dad years ago. That's why he let him live, to lure the kids into a trap. He tells them to leave and leave him behind, but of course, they refuse. When they tell him Lord Pan is sending reinforcements, the general's assistant gets furious, saying Pan is why they lost the war in the first place when he retreated. He's sure Pan won't send anyone and actually wants them all dead. Despite all that, the 7 brothers won't leave without their dad. The oldest brother starts handing out tasks. Yanxi and Lu stay with their dad for guard duty. The 5th brother tries to treat the poisoned general, and the oldest will go with the assistant and a few soldiers to find a way out. The 5th brother pulls the arrow out very carefully since it's poisoned, but he's shocked to find the poison reach the marrow, making it almost impossible to heal. He just cauterizes the wound to stop the bleeding. As for the 7th brother, Yanxi, when he sees the situation, he gets fed up and decides to go to Lord Pan's camp to demand reinforcements. Lu runs after him to stop him, but he's already gone. The oldest brother and the others manage to get out of the mountain and reach a difficult path that could lead them out, but suddenly, projectiles start raining down on them from everywhere. They realize the Khitan set an ambush and they can't use this road. They try to rush back to the mountain under a hail of heavy fire, but unfortunately, many of them die. When they get back and find out Yanxi went to Pan, the oldest brother gets angry and hits Lu for not stopping him. But there's no time for that because the Khitan are closing in from all sides. This is where a fierce battle between the brothers and the Khitan soldiers starts. They start picking them off with arrows, and some go down to fight on the ground with swords. It's a brutal fight, but the Yang brothers have the upper hand. They're killing with everything they've got just to escape with their dad. The Khitan soldiers actually get scared of their brutality and some retreat. Lu and his brothers put on an amazing show, killing everyone in their path and smashing the idea of being outnumbered. Their skill with different weapons is legendary. They eventually reach the horses and start a gradual retreat, especially since General Yang is weak but trying to fight as much as he can. When his kids see him, they go crazy and attack the enemies with unmatched ferocity until they grab the horses and bolt. Meanwhile, the Imperial Inspector mocks Commander Yuan for failing to trap and kill Yang and his sons. Yuan gets ticked off and cuts the inspector's head off on the spot. He orders his assistant to take all the forces and meet at the Song border because they're going for a full-scale attack the next day. Our 7 heroes and General Yang keep moving for long distances, hoping to get home before the next attack, especially since they have no soldiers left, just the brothers and the general. Suddenly, the general falls to the ground, unable to go on, bleeding out. They decide to rest in an abandoned temple until the next day. Lu looks at his dad's condition and cries, apologizing because if he hadn't joined the fight, Yanxi wouldn't have killed Pan's son. But the general tells him Yanxi is reckless, and you can expect anything from him. He asks Lu to marry Princess Chai when they get back. He's upset that he's a burden on them, and they had to stop so he could rest. At that time, Yanxi reaches Lord Pan's stronghold. The soldiers on the walls prep their arrows immediately. Yanxi identifies himself and says he wants to talk to Pan. The Lord appears but says, "What is this? A Khitan soldier?" Yanxi takes off his helmet to prove who he is and says, "I came here not expecting to leave alive. Kill me to avenge your son, but send troops to help my dad and brothers." Lord Pan gets furious and insists he's a Khitan soldier acting. He orders his men to fire a rain of arrows that wipes Yanxi out instantly. General Yang dreams of the mysterious fortune teller who tells him his 7th son is dead, and it's time to leave his armor and sword so his kids can carry on. The general decides on a huge sacrifice. He hits his head against a monument and kills himself so he isn't a burden on his sons anymore. As for his wife, someone from the emperor tells her the traitor Lord Pan convinced the emperor the country is in chaos and he can't send a single soldier to help Yang. When the brothers wake up and find what their dad did, they're all shocked that he killed himself so they could move faster and get home. They dig a hole to give him a proper burial. Suddenly, Liu, the 6th brother, says he wants to take his dad home because their mom is waiting for him, even if he's a corpse. The other brothers agree and decide to do it. Liu ties his dad to his back and they set off on horses from the temple. They reach a certain pass and find out Yuan is coming after them with 80 soldiers. The oldest brother bravely decides to stay behind to delay them as long as possible, while the others protect Liu until the dad gets home. The 2nd brother decides to stay with him, but the oldest gives him the paper their mom got from the fortune teller. He tells him to go back with the others. Only he needs to die. The 2nd brother leaves, and the oldest brother is alone. As soon as he sees Yuan's men, he attacks with insane bravery. Even though he's one man against dozens of armed soldiers, he kills a huge number of them, fighting like a beast. But he's surprised by even more men charging him. They wound him in multiple places, but he stays standing, trying to stall them. The soldiers are shocked by his guts, fighting like a wounded wolf. Unfortunately, the oldest brother gets exhausted from his injuries and falls. Yuan comes and drives his spear into him, lifting him up violently. He says he can't let him live because his own dad died on the battlefield at the hands of General Yang, and they never even found the body. Since that day, Yuan swore to kill Yang and all his sons, no matter what. Suddenly, we see the 2nd brother returning from a distance, hoping to save his brother. He attacks Yuan's men with total resolve and kills a bunch of them, but they swarm him. They leave the oldest and second brother behind as they both pass away. At that time, the fifth brother's horse falls and the enemies are close. The fourth brother decides to stay with him and tells Liu and the third brother to keep moving. He grabs the fifth brother from his horse and they try to escape. But when they see it's impossible, they decide to face them one last time. The two brothers fight with extreme gallantry, killing anyone in their way with unmatched skill. They're fighting for honor and family, which gives them strength despite their wounds. But as usual, the fifth brother gets hit in the chaos and dies. The fourth brother tries with his last bit of energy, but it's a lost cause. In the end, both die as they let out a war cry, taking down as many as possible and jumping off a cliff so they all die. Next, the third brother's horse gets hit by a poisoned arrow. He tells Liu to keep going alone while he stays to fight and delay the enemies. The third brother goes into the tall grass and dodges enemy arrows until he sees the shooter. He fires back but misses. Unfortunately, the enemy hits him with a poisoned arrow. Despite that, the third brother traps him and puts an arrow through his head, finishing him. But then Yuan comes and gives him a final spear thrust, ending his life too. Now only the sixth brother, Liu, is left. He's still carrying his dad on his back until the very end. The problem is Yuan caught up to him and told him he killed all his brothers. Liu tries to escape to get home, but Yuan hits him from a distance, knocking him off his horse. Liu, the last hero, has to fight and kill him right here, right now. A fierce fight breaks out between him and Yuan. Yuan is at full strength, unlike Liu, but Liu dodges his strikes beautifully. Yuan is super skilled too, and knocks Liu down several times. But Liu doesn't give up and fights to his last breath. He blocks a spear strike aimed at his dad's body out of respect, holding the spear tightly until he grabs another sword and finally wounds Yuan. Yuan goes ballistic when he gets cut and attacks with pure brutality, throwing Liu to the ground. They finish the fight with their bare hands in a super intense atmosphere. Each one is trying to kill the other, but Liu's willpower is legendary. He rains down hysterical punches on Yuan's face until he's a mess. He looks at his dad one last time and stabs a dagger into Yuan's heart, ending him for good. He picks his dad up again and finally reaches home. His mom and the soldiers are there to meet him. The mom is devastated to see Yang dead, and even more shocked to find out all the other brothers are gone, except for Liu. The prophecy meant 7 go out and the 6th returns. In the end, the Khitan army scatters after Yuan's death, and the Song Empire gets a bit of peace. As for Lord Pan, he wasn't punished for his betrayal, but his name lived in shame for the rest of his life. Liu continues his mission protecting his father's family and marries his childhood sweetheart, Princess Chai. The story of the Yang family became a legend that lives on today, serving as an example of loyalty, family devotion, and virtue. And that's where the movie ends. I hope you liked the summary. If you made it to the end, don't forget to like the video, and if you're new here, subscribe to see all the upcoming summaries. See you next movie.